Hi, I'm R.C. Kaufman, one of the student teachers here at Vision Home Ministries. I'd like to talk to you today about a common misconception involving 1 Corinthians chapter 13, sometimes referred to as the love chapter. This set of verses has been at more weddings than rice. Quick show of hands here. Okay, how many people listening to me now had this read at least one of your weddings? Okay. And especially if you've had more than one wedding, how many didn't put any of the verses into practice? Yeah, me too. At least not the first time around. I believe that too many people treat this passage as some kind of magic formula. You know, they have the priest or the pastor say it over them at the wedding and everything is going to be fine. I don't really think that anybody takes it far enough. Let's read it again and then I'll set it up. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 13, starting in verse 4. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put away the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. When Paul wrote this letter to the church at Corinth, he was actually in the middle of scolding them for being a little too much in the world. In the words of an old country song, they were looking for love in all the wrong places and attaching way too much value to things that weren't as important as the love they took so casually. Paul wrote this letter to set them straight, and I think it tells us something about the importance of love in a Christian's life, that so much of this letter focuses on love. I hear a lot of people talking about how they want to be more like God. They read their Bibles voraciously, mining nuggets of information about how to live in a manner that pleases God. Okay, fine. There's nothing at all wrong with that. God gave us the Bible so that we can know more about Him. But if you really want to know somebody, the first thing you need to understand is their character. The character of a person defines every other aspect of their lives. Since we are made in the image of God, it seems to me that the same would hold true for Him. If you want to be more like Him, learn His character. For me, these verses actually give a snapshot of God. When you get down to it, God quite simply is love. The purest, deepest love there is. Anybody who's ever raised children knows that real love has many faces. It prefers to be gentle, sure, but it can also be tough. Love desires freedom, but it understands boundaries. Love tells the truth, even when it's hard. And real love isn't afraid to discipline. I love my granddaughters more than life itself. I want them to experience true freedom, but I don't let them play in the street. My children were both grown and out of the house before I became a serious Christ follower, but my 6 granddaughters have taught me a lot about how God loves. It is very easy for me to look at them and hear God say in my spirit, yeah, that's how I feel about you. It's given me a whole different perspective. Now, when I don't get something that I really, really want, I don't throw a hissy fit about it anymore. Now, having seen the reasons why I don't let children in my life have everything they think they want, I am more willing to sit back and say, okay, God, bring on your plan. Because I know He loves me, it's easier to trust that His way is better. What I'm trying to get at here is that I believe 1 Corinthians 13 is more than just a blueprint for the way we treat each other. What I believe Paul is telling us on one level or another is that this is the way God loves us. Think about that for a minute and see if your head doesn't start to explode. You want more than one verse to hang your hat on? Okay, no problem. Let's take a look at Matthew 22, verses 36 through 40. One of the Pharisees was talking to Jesus, and he said, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." Now pay attention to verse 40. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments. Do you get that? This is the Son of God telling us that actively making a decision to love God and our fellow man will fulfill all of the original Mosaic law. At the time Jesus walked this earth, the law had grown until there were several hundred points. What I believe he was telling the people then and now is that no matter how many points there are to the law, this simple, awesome characteristic of love is the key to all of it. I hope that this has helped you, or at least given you food for thought. 2 things I have taken away from this. 1, if you want to follow God, learn His character. Realize that the biggest thing about God is love. And 2, if the way God loves us is the love described in 1 Corinthians 13, who wouldn't want to serve a God like that? If you'll let me, I'd like to end this video by giving you my favorite blessing. It is the first benediction recorded in the Bible, and it comes from the 6th chapter of the book of Numbers. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. Thank you for watching. Good night, and God bless.